I'm obsessed how this look turned out. I think this nail is cute, and I think all of them actually offer a really cute, like, wedding bridesmaidy summer look. Hey guys! If you want to learn how to make this beautiful summery nail look, stick around. I almost imagined it as the index nail being like the bride with her pale whiter dress holding the bouquet of flowers that's on the tip, and then the other nails being kind of her bridesmaids, and the colors of the other nails are reflected in the flowers of the main focus nail. It's almost as if they're wearing like the bridesmaid dresses with the pastel-y colors that are reflected in the bridal bouquet. So that's just my artistic interpretation of it. I'm gonna start off with cutting and filing your nails. I'm filing into a round tip here because I think it looks nice with this look. It's a softer kind of look. One trick I've learned, if you're confused as to what kind of shape you should go for a manicure, is try to reflect your own nail bed. So almost imagine doing an inverted shape or whatever your nail bed is on the top of your fingers. After applying the base coat, cure that. I'm using a light baby pink color here for the index nail, and this is the color that's going to be reflected throughout the whole manicure in different ways, which you'll see. So you want to choose this color well. I'd recommend a lighter color. So we're going to do 2 layers of the base coat. After curing both of them, we're going to start with the painting. For that, you can grab one of these small little brushes. That you can get them in a pack really for Amazon, I think for about £10. What I want to do is like a stem or a branch on the tip of my index finger to paint the flowers on top of, so that they look like they're sitting on a little branch. So I'm grabbing some maroon polish. You can use a brown as well, I just didn't have any, and I'm also using maroon because later on I'm gonna go in with the shimmery brown and highlight certain areas to make the branch more 3D. Make little bends as you're going along, because then that allows you to put flowers in there to sit in. We're gonna cure that now. Make sure you go curing frequently as you go along this manicure, because then if you mess up on one of the steps, you can just wipe the polish away and it won't wipe away the polish that you've previously cured. So I cured the base, I've cured the stem, and now if I don't like any of the flowers that I paint, I can just wipe them away, and I'm not worried about wiping away my previous work because it's already been cured. And that's the advantage of using gel over normal polish. And I'll really recommend for this index finger to use gel, whereas for the rest of the nails you can use normal polish, which I have done for a few of them, and you'll see that later on. So now I'm gonna start doing the flowers. I'm using this deep purpley color for the flowers. For making these, you want to grab a dropping tool. You can also just use a pencil. Dab a little bit of polish onto the dropping tool, and then drop almost 3 small drops of the polish onto the nail close to each other, and then grab a different color and then put in 3 drops of that different color around the same area of the previous drops, and then do one big swirl to kind of swirl it all together, and that basically ends up looking like a beautiful petaled flower. I recommend doing it in 3 kind of drops rather than doing one big drop and then adding another drop of another color and swirling that, because I think adding them separately but just only slightly far away from each other helps to give more definition. It's a really simple way of making flowers, the most simplest I've found. You don't have to draw petals on or anything like that. You're literally just dropping blobs of paint onto your nail, which is really easy to do, and then swirling it all together, and in the end it actually looks like a flower. It looks really beautiful, and it gives you good definition. I'd recommend only just use 2 different colors for this. Don't go more than that, because if you do that they will start to mix together and it won't look good. So now I'm adding a little bit of shimmery brown polish that I was talking about earlier to little areas of the stem that I want to highlight, just to make it look more 3D. With any kind of nail art, if you want to make it look more 3D, use 2 different colors, one for the shadows and then one for the highlight. And if you don't want to do that, if you want to make it look more cartoonish or 2D, just stick to one main color. For creating the leaves, grab an angled brush like this one, and then I'm dipping that into some green paint, and the angle helps you to make a bigger base of the leaves and then a smaller tip. And I'm really just doing a triangle shape, nothing special for the leaves, but from far away it does look like a leaf. And I'm putting that into the bends and the nooks and crannies of the flowers, and then it looks realistic like leaves. So this design is actually really simple if you think about it. Take a step back, really just circles, drops of circles for the flowers, swirl them together to make the petals, and then triangles for the leaves. That's it. You really don't have to be an artist. Moving on to the second flower, I'm starting with the lighter color that I'm using for all 3 flowers. I accidentally dropped some on the table. You don't know how to do that step. And then I'm grabbing a really beautiful orangey shade, and that's going to be the main shade of this flower that I'm going to drop into the lighter shade and then swirl again to make the petals. After using your brushes, make sure to clean them, so dip them in a little bit of solution and wipe them against the tissue, and then they'll be good to go for the next use. Some of the polishes that I am using in the flowers, they are regular polishes, as in non-gel polishes, because I didn't have gel polishes in all the different colors. And if you're gonna do the same thing, just note that putting normal polish in the UV lamp doesn't cause it to cure or dry any faster. So if you are mixing them, make sure that you are allowing a good amount of time for the normal polish to dry while also curing the gel polish at the same time. In the end, mixing a non-gel or a gel polish in the design doesn't make a difference in how it looks, because you'll see I'm going to cover the whole thing in top coat, which makes it all look really cohesive, and it all looks the same. It looks like gel, and it actually lasted the same amount as gel as well, so it's great. Even if you do a regular polish look, you can just, as long as you do a base and a top coat of gel, it works. And here I am doing the last flower, which is a beautiful coral pink. I'm sorry the camera is not picking up the definition on these flowers very well, but I hope that in some of the shots you're able to appreciate how good it looks. The contrast really does come through in real life if you're using multiple shades, which I really recommend. Let me know which one's your favorite flower. Just note, I'm using a plate here to dab little pieces of polish onto, and then picking it up from there from my brushes, as you can see. I'm not sure if they're safe to eat after this, just a disclaimer, so best to get like a material or a waterproof surface that you've reserved just for this. If you get any polish in areas that you don't want, like I have here, I made the flower a little bit bigger than I wanted. What I've done is I've grabbed that angled brush, because it helps you to really get in those nooks and crannies, put some of the remover solution on it, and I'm wiping away on the nail. Like I said before, I'm not worried about any of my previous designs getting ruined, because I've been curing as I go, so they're not going to be affected. Doing this can be so therapeutic, and I just love this little crown of petals, crown of flowers on the tip of this finger here. I'm so happy with how this design turned out. I think it's one of the prettiest I've ever done. By the way, the reason that I keep shaking all my polishes is to get them all the same consistency, because when you're painting, you need to make sure that you're getting the same consistency throughout. If some's lumpy and some is more wet, it messes with your design. Now I'm doing the rest of the nails to reflect the colors that I've used in the main finger. So I've done a reddy orange on my ring finger, which is the same color that I've used in the flower to the very right. and then I'm using a deep purple for my middle finger, which is what I've used for the middle flower, and I'm using a more pale color for my pinky, which is actually the base color in all of the flowers, and then the coral of the last flower is in the thumb. Two of these colors are actually non-gel, but it doesn't matter because the design I'm going to do next makes them all look the same, and so does the top coat of gel that you add in the end. When you're doing different coats, make sure that you do really thin coats rather than doing one big lumpy coat to try to save time. It will just end up looking really bad. Do as thin coats as you can and cure them as you go. It does take longer, but it looks a lot more beautiful in the end. I'm just doing the thumb now. I always do the thumb separately because it sits at a 90 degrees angle to the rest of your fingers, so if you cure it at the same time that you're curing the rest of your fingers, the polish will drip down your thumb because of gravity, and it will be thicker on one side of the thumb than on the bottom rather than the top, and it'll cure like that in the lamp. So I always recommend to do the thumb separately and then put it in separately into the UV lamp flat so that the polish on it dries flat. Now I'm just doing a second coat of that middle finger. So you can leave it here and add the top coat here because technically you know, the colors do all match, but I wanted to make the manicure look even more cohesive, so I grabbed some of the base color of the index nail, wiping a little bit of that onto a plate. Then you grab a tissue, scrunch it up so that the surface of it has little indentations. You put that into the tissue and dip it, and then test the pattern that you're getting on the plate. If you're happy with the pattern, you just dab that pattern onto the nails. I found that it's helpful to just get a good amount of polish onto your tissue in one go and then dab that onto the nail in one step rather than dabbing it on multiple times, because the more times you dab it on, the more diffuse it's gonna look, whereas if you just do it once, it gives more contrast between the two colors, and in my opinion that looks more pretty. So try to get a lot of polish on the tissue in one go and then just dab it on in one go and leave it. Obviously fill in any kind of crevices around the edges, which is what I'm doing here, and I'm doing that on all the nails. And don't worry about getting it on the fingers because we'll take care of that. Just make sure you get it all the way around so that it looks good. Now if you want to go in for more polish every time, note that I'm using a fresh piece of tissue every time. If you note on the thumb, that's what I mean by making it too diffuse. This one was too diffuse for my liking, for example. You can actually buy polishes that give you these effects that I've used on the other nails in one stroke, but I really like this effect because it makes the whole look cohesive because you've used the same color on the top as you have on the index nail, and it just brings everything together. So I'd rather do this effect myself rather than buy a polish, because that's obviously not going to give you the same effect. And for your fingers, you can easily clean that by dropping a little bit of remover solution. Again, I've dropped it on the table. I don't know what's happening this day, but you don't have to do that necessarily. You can if you want for fun. Grab a brush again and put it and dip it into the remover solution, and then just go around your cuticles with that to clean it all up. Do this before you put it in the lamp. Please don't cure it while it's on your fingers, otherwise it will not get off your skin. And now it's time for top coat. With the top coat, try not to press too hard because you don't want it to bleed the different colors into each other. This one doesn't because it's really good quality. In my experience, the Mylee top coat is really good because, as you can see, even though I've used loads of different colors on this index nail, they're not bleeding one into the other. So just use the top coat on all of the fingers and then cure that, and then use a little bit of the cleaning wipe to remove the sticky layer from the top, which I haven't done here, but I do at the end of the manicure. And then you end up with a look that looks like gel on all the fingers, but it's not. I think it's so beautiful. You can always add a little bit of cuticle oil to make them all look nice and professional. Again, I've not done that here, but overall I love this design. I mean, just look look at the effect on the different nails and the main finger with the flower patterns. I mean, I'm obsessed. Let me know if you like it. Do you think it's cute? Would you wear it? Any recommendations? Leave them in the comments below. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.